Chapter 22. Not going to make it. His vitals. What is going on? Rossner stares up at the ceiling, deep in thought. He should be dead. Yet here he is, still breathing, still cursed to fight in the arena. At least when the healer says he is ready. It has been a week since that fight. 3 days since he woke from his coma. 7 days since Shadow cut his throat. 7 days since the friend he had lost, then found, cut his throat. Literally. The number of betrayals he feels continues to grow. If it carries on like this, Rossner cannot foresee himself having a bright future. He has been visited by several healers, potion makers, and magic users alike. Apart from the one that oversees the injuries that take place within the confines of the Colosseum. All of them wanted to know how he survived. They kept telling him his body was limp, cold to the touch, lifeless. They had him in a cart and were halfway through the city when, apparently, he let out a shallow breath. He does not remember any of it. He just recalls waking up, staring at the ceiling, wondering why he is still alive. And they all want the same answer, but none of them ask the same question. Depending on the divination, healers inquire on things like, "Which god do you pray to?" Or, "Why do you think death denied you?" Though Rossner's favorite is, "Do you believe yourself to be of godly descent?" The potion makers were curious if he took any elixirs before the fight, which, of course, he did not. How is he supposed to get one in the first place? Of all his visitors, the magic users were the ones who set him on edge. Sorcerers, wizards, and witches questioned him. They were the only ones to examine him as well. In fact, they did more examination than questioning. Spells and enchantments were cast in an attempt to discern the cause of his survival. One of them even looked through his mind, trying to find answers in Rossner's memories. All of them came up short. So now he just lays on the bed, staring at the ceiling, searching for the same answer everyone else desires. The cell door creaks open. Rossner does not bother looking at who enters. I do not know how many more people I have to talk to for us to get to the same conclusion, but I'm getting tired of it, he mutters. I'm here to talk, the man informs. He is direct, but his tone is not harsh. Rossner sits up. But not about the direct mysteries that behold you. This strikes Rossner as curious. He turns and takes in the man in front of him. A tall, built figure stands in the middle of the room, fingering something in his hand. The room is dimly lit, but it is still easy to see his face. Going off the features, Rossner thinks him to be an elf-human mix, heavier on the human side. He has never seen an elf as stocky as the one before him. He wears a dark blue, tailored suit with a gentle green shirt underneath. Then what are you here for? Rossner asks. The response Rossner receives is a flick of something small flying through the air towards him. He snatches it. When the coin presses into his palm, his mind clears in an instant. In this moment, Rossner realizes he is not actually in a cell of the Colosseum anymore. It feels just like it, but now he has been grounded with some familiarity. He can pick out distinct differences. There is a nightstand by the bed he never bothered to look at. His bed is made of straw instead of stone. Across the hall from him is a stone wall instead of another cell. Not to mention, the atmosphere is not one of death. He looks down at the coin that was taken from him back in Lebem. Who are you? Is all Rosner can muster. Normally, I would say I am the one that saved your life. But in this case, it appears you did the saving yourself. The man walks over and sits on the edge of the bed. And with excellent recovery, I may add. By the way he talks, if Rosner is to guess, the man was raised in Croane. It has a certain melody to it. His skin is pale, with a hint of color. He was born somewhere inland instead of on the coast. Deep green eyes study Rosner with years of experience. You truly do not know how you survived? Rosner shakes his head, frustrated by the repeating question. Like I told everyone else, no, I have no clue. He looks over Rosner for a few more seconds. Then he points at the coin in his hand. Then would you mind telling me where you got this? Rosner looks at the coin himself and turns it between his fingers before answering. Some old fisherman gave it to me several years ago. Said that it would help me at some point. I guess he was right. He looks back at the man and is shocked to see him smile. A small one. So, that is where he went. I was told that old man went looking for someone. Never said who or why. I guess I have my answer. He points to the coin again. Do you know anything about this? Rosner shakes his head. The man taps the metal, saying, This is a form of currency used by the resistance. Only those that are a part of it know what the symbol means. The fact that the old man gave you this coin tells me he trusts you. I will make my own assessment. Well, it seems you trust me enough to tell me this, Rosner observes. The man shrugs. True, but if I find something out of place, I can always kill you later. You will remain here until the choice is made. With that, he rises and heads to the door. Rosner jumps to his feet and tails the man. He is not about to be locked up yet again. It is starting to get old. Hold on. Do you really? The man stops and looks over his shoulder. I expect you to stay here? Yes. Rosner expects this, but it still stops him in his tracks, his expression full of shock as the man closes and locks the door behind him. He stares into Rosner's eyes. Do I expect you to be silent about it? I believe that to be asking a little much. With that, he walks down the hall and around a corner a few strides away. Every ounce of Rosner wants to grip the bars and shake them in fury, but he manages to refrain. Barely. Instead, he spins around and marches back to the bed. However, when he reaches it, he finds his feet taking him the other direction, and he begins pacing around the cell. How is it trouble finds him so often? Aside from learning the sword, nothing about his life has been up to him. Actually, now that he thinks of it, even learning the sword was not his idea. Pulfrey was the one that took him to Errant. Pulfrey. He is the one that caused all of this. That old man and him saying he is some sort of... Well, he never said what he was. Though Arendt called him a sorcerer, Rosner believes it to be a loose description. But Rosner knows he uses magic, and he only revealed himself after the castle fell. What is the connection to all of this? Dragon eggs, which are so rare they might as well not exist. Mysterious old man turned sorcerer, maybe. Strange figures in armor. He gets taken prisoner after starting a fight he did not start. escapes thanks to a cursed phantom dagger just to be recaptured later. Then he finds out the animal he took care of can talk right before the creature slices his throat, prophesizing his survival. Now he stands here in a cell once more. Rolling everything over in his mind makes his head ache. Maybe if he just lays down and sleeps on it, something will come to him. It is not like he can do much else anyway. For the next several days, Rosner follows a daily routine. Wake up, eat oatmeal and bread, pace, make no connection to anything about his life events, then pace. Eat some jerky, bread, and soup, and pace. Make a connection, then realize it has no merit before pacing. Eat jerky, cheese, and bread. Then pace, sleep. Repeat. He cannot complain entirely. The food that he is given appears like they see him as a guest that is not trusted, but a guest nonetheless. Whenever food does come around, he finds himself thinking of his family, of Kadoric and where he is, wondering what he is going through, how he can find this tear, this elixir of life that Palfrey claims can help him. He thinks of Asra and where she is. He cannot imagine she is still in Ticthrim. Her and Strongheart must be roaming the land, always in hiding. He prays to the life-giver that she is doing well. Then there is his mother. They do not have a house anymore, thanks to that fire so long ago. He wonders how she is holding up. She is probably fine. Lonesome, maybe, but living. He tries not to think of his father. All that comes to mind when Rosner thinks of him are lies and betrayal. Occasionally, he finds himself trying to give reason for his father's actions, and that unsettles him. Rosner knows the wrongs his father committed, and those can never be justified. Rosner counts day 7 before someone opens his cell, and they ask him to follow. As a precaution, they have a guard follow him so he does not slip away when his chauffeur is not looking. He is escorted down a hallway and into a room a short distance away. The plain stone reminds him of a jail cell. The room feels the same. There is a desk off to the corner and an oval wool rug in the center. An oak door is set into the wall to the right. The man that returned his coin stands in the middle of the room, hands clasped behind his back. "I've gathered you are of no threat to us," he tells Rosner, "so you will be free to go." Rosner eyes him. Something about his tone does not align with his words, but he does not press it. "So, this is where we part?" "Yes, but not alone." Rosner takes 2 steps, then stops at the man's last words. "How do you figure?" Rosner asks, more irritated than curious. "There are a few things. One, if we were to let you wander the streets after half the city watched you die, you would be hunted, captured, interrogated, and properly disposed of. 2, everyone in the city would have eyes on them to determine who helped you and why. After which they would have death take us to judgment right behind you. I'm not putting this organization through that." The man pauses to look at Rosner, like he is peering into his soul, like he is a piece to a puzzle he does not have. "And the third is because you, despite what you or I think, are one of us." Rosner raises an eyebrow. "I am sorry to disappoint, but I still do not really know what you guys are about. You know, besides calling yourselves the Resistance. Yet, one of our own gifted you the coin that enforces your membership." Rosner shakes his head, then reaches into his pocket. Look, if you want it back, you can take it. I'm just looking for a way to help my brother. For a moment, the man seems offended Rosner offers up the coin, but the way he sees it, having it has only caused him trouble. If he gets rid of it now, he might be able to help Kadoric. No, that is not how this organization runs. The year is spent when members require something they could not obtain on their own, when the use of the organization's or other members' resources are required. However, in this particular case, I'm going to waive the custom. Just know from this moment forth, you will not again be met with such generosity. Rosner crosses his arms. If this is their thought on generosity, then they can keep it. Instead, he asks, "So, what is the plan then? Since you are letting me go, yet not letting me go." The man nods, and one of the men disappears back down the hall. If it is not for the magic restrictions in the city, I would suggest turning you into a small creature or an inanimate object. But would a simple disguise not work as well? Rosner does not know if these people think shape-shifting is a normal thing, but he would rather avoid it at any cost. There's just something odd about the aspect of it. The man thinks for a second, as if the thought just occurred to him. Finally, "Yes, there is a chance that could work." A sigh of relief escapes Rosner's mouth. "Good. However," the man interrupts, "I still believe it to be too risky. So instead," someone approaches Rosner from behind and hooks a necklace around his neck. "This will help against scrying and telepathy." Rosner takes the small crystal in his fingers. It is caged in a simple silver lattice with a silver chain. The blue gem has a faint glow. "What about the magic restrictions?" Rosner asks. "Surely they will pick up something like this." The other man eyes him. "Generally, yes, but only if you wander into the city. Of course, that will not be your direction of travel." He does a half turn before looking back at Rosner. "And before you go thinking you are something special, the necklace is not for your safety. It is for those who are traveling with you." "And where is it that we are traveling?" He nods again, and the figure behind him walks towards the door. He senses the elf expects him to follow, but Rosner stands still. He wants his questions answered. Rosner supposes he realizes this, because the man sighs and says, "Just know it will be to safety, but also where we can reach you if questions arise." Before Rosner musters a reply, his feet betray him, and he heads towards the door. He tries to fight it, but his legs beat to a different rhythm and carry him outside behind the elf. When the door shuts behind him, his feet stop moving against his wishes. Unable to help himself, Rosner demands, "What was that?" "A spell," the elf answers simply. "I took over the motor abilities in your legs for a brief moment." "Well, could you not do that again?" She shrugs. "Do not give me a reason to." Then she proceeds to breathe something in her hands. A moment later, a glowing circle dries the wet stone before them and burns into the ground. He barely notices the black mountains towering over them before his body lurches down and up all at once, as if something is trying to rip him apart. Yet he feels no pain. But once everything stops moving, Rosner's stomach makes its way out of his mouth. Sand swirls around them, choking Rosner between his vomiting outbursts. His eyes water, but he cannot tell if it is from the sand or him throwing up. He manages to control himself rather quickly, but the sand still lingers in the air, making it hard for him to breathe and impossible to see, save the blinding light above him, and the sand reflecting it all around. A firm hand seizes his arm and drags him away. "Come on," the elf prompts. Rosner lets her usher him out of the mini sandstorm they appear to have created into a vast expanse of sand with nothing in view, save the spine far to the north. He squints. "Where are we?" he asks. "The northern corner of the sea of sand." Rosner stumbles as he waits for his eyes to adjust. "Did you just teleport us?" "Yes." "Can we avoid doing that again?" To Rosner, he feels as if his body is still trying to piece itself back together. He would vomit at the thought, but he has nothing left. Who knew this would make him throw up? "It is probable we will not do it again." Her voice is not monotone, but she has no love of what she is doing either. "However," she continues, "you might encounter such an endeavor again, depending on what choices you make." "What do you mean, depending on what choices I make?" He looks around. "And where are we going?" he asks more aggressively than he intends to. The elf sighs from annoyance. Her melodic voice reminds him of tree limbs creaking in the wind, despite the lack of inflection in her voice. "I simply mean that throughout your life, you will have to make various decisions. Also, if you would not mind taking 2 steps towards me." Rosner complies. "Now what?" "Now," she says, letting a smirk slip through her otherwise stoic expression, "hold your breath." Rosner scrunches his eyebrows. "Hold my—" The ground beneath him opens and sand consumes him. He free falls for a split second, not long after being eaten, and lands on a pile of sand. Around him, lit sconces are set in stone walls along a circular room. A single hall leads away from it. The elf stands in the entryway with a hop in her step now. "It never surprises me how clumsy humans are," she exhales. "Come." The quip Rosner can take, but the summoning irritates him, yet he bites his tongue and follows. Instead, he asks, "So, where are we now?" To his surprise, she answers, "You are standing in what some consider the safest place in Omnimentus. To the rest of the world, this place does not exist. No amount of magic can detect its location, and what limited entrances we have are guarded." Rosner stiffens. "I did not see anyone." She nods. "Then they are doing their jobs well." They walk through the bare tunnel in silence, save the soft scrape of their boots on the ground and the shallow breath from their lips. Up ahead, firelight pours into the hallway from around a corner, dancing with excitement to the sound of secrecy. The turn reveals a vast cavern that digs deep into the ground, to which they stand near the top. Several tiers wrap around the chasm, with entryways much like the one the elf and himself walked through. Rope bridges span the gap for the higher levels, suspending from the ceiling above. The lower levels appear to have a combination of stone walkways and rope walks. Rosner looks at everything in awe. It is, however, short-lived. "New recruit." The elf and Rosner turn to see a large red orc approach. All he wears is a loincloth and a battle axe strapped to his back. "House protection, Ozrak. But perhaps you can get him to convert." The elf gives Rosner a shove to the orc's direction. He glances back at her with a quip on his tongue, but a large hand turns him back around. Another one, Azrak demands. What reason have you? I will fill you in later, she informs him. For now, just do your job. Yeah? Azrak ushers Rosner away without another word. A few seconds later, Rosner asks something he feels like he will regret. What is your job? You will find out, soon as I know the situation. Azrak's tune switches like someone doused a fire. First he is joyful with the elf. Now he seems as if he despises life. Or it could be he is on babysitting duty, which is a respectable reason to despise life. However, I could just tell you the situation, Rosner offers. They start down a set of stairs to the tier below. The descent has a sharp drop off to one side and a wall on the other. Rosner looks down, unable to stop himself from a small gulp. Azrak grunts. Does not work like that. It is doubtful you know your situation. Rosner tries to stop, but Azrak's large hand propels him forward. How would I not know my situation? Rosner demands. Easy. A few moments pass. When Rosner realizes that is all the orc has planned to say, he persists. What do you mean, easy? I know my own situation. The large creature shakes his head. It is because it is your situation that you will not understand it. They reach the landing and continue to another set of stairs. Goddess of mysteries, Rosner whispers in frustration. This stops the creature, who obviously heard what Rosner said. What? Rosner asks. For a moment, he just stands there. Then, I do not understand why you use the name of the one of corrupt deities of old, who is thought to have been dead for many generations. They deserve no recognition. If at any moment Rosner was at a loss for words, this is one of them. His mouth hangs open as he tries to formulate something. Anything. But nothing comes. So the two of them finish their walk in silence. They journey down several more stairs, then cross the highest stone bridge to the other side. Below, Rosner can hear and see what appears to be the heart of this cavern. Creatures of all kinds mingle amongst shops in small groups. Children run, crying out of joy. The occasional guard walks past in clinking armor. A single gold rose decorates the front of his chest plate. Yet even as they leave life behind and enter the maze of tunnels, Rosner's head dances about the words Azrak spoke. It is widely agreed that Myrain, goddess of mysteries, was lost very soon after her creation. It is the basis of her title. But this is the only thing that is agreed on. Most think she died, along with half her siblings after the war, though some say she hides. Others claim she is trapped or being held captive, while there are still those that, like Azrak, believe her corrupted, if she is even somehow alive. So, what does he think? He has never thought about it before. He supposes he believes she is alive, since he uses her name. But does simply using her name make him a believer? Or does it mean he does not understand the words he uses? Rosner racks his brain, trying to remember the lore surrounding the goddess. He knows it is not long. In fact, she is hardly mentioned in any text. But of those few that do, what do they say? This is where you will rest while you are here, Azrak informs Rosner. Someone will come for you once you are discussed. Then the orc leaves. For a moment, Rosner watches him go, but before long, he wanders into the room. There is not much, just enough for a clay bed, a nightstand, and a narrow path to reach them. He sits on the bed and stares at the open door and waits. It is not long before Rosner grows restless and hungry. He shuts the door behind him and looks to the left and right. Now, which way had he come from? Rosner picks a direction at random. After wandering the dim-lit halls for what feels like hours, Rosner finally hears a large collection of voices to his left. He heads towards it and soon finds himself back in the commons, as some of those who they passed earlier had called it. He lets his nose lead the way to a stand selling curry, one of the few shops that are not built into the rock. Rosner reaches into his pockets for some coin to remember he does not have any. Unlike the pit in Lebem, those that fight in the Colosseum earn nothing monetary. They are given food, better equipment as their status improved, and the ability to practice in a heavily guarded training ground adjacent to the Colosseum. But leaving the premises is forbidden, unless, of course, one decided to join the Venmarain. Rosner sighs as he turns away, letting his feet take him where they will. Everything grows distant as he walks through the crowds. The voice is barely audible. The smell is no more than a sea breeze. The way the torches and braziers reflect off the walls and off every joyful face that passes is beautiful. Too bad Rosner feels too sluggish to truly appreciate it. After wandering aimlessly for who knows how long, he suddenly feels lost. Not literally, but mentally. What is he doing here? What is the... Rosner stares down a dark corridor. Is there something there, watching him? Hey! Rosner rips around and slams someone into the wall beside him, one hand pinning a thick wrist away from the body, while a forearm presses against a massive throat. When he looks into the orc's eyes and sees surprise, Rosner releases him with an apology. The creature offers Rosner a dry smile as he rubs his throat. I take it you find others tasteless. His accent is strange, not harsh like a grindstone, but is not smooth either. This one is new to him. After a moment, Rosner admits, I have been through a lot lately, it seems. He feels the weight of his entire life pressed down on him again. Well, the creature clasps Rosner's shoulder. Looks to me like you could use someone to talk to. Let us share a drink. Thank you, Rosner says, but I have no coin. The orc's brown eyes widen a hair. Then he lets out a short bark of laughter. No worries, my friend, he reassures Rosner. No worries. He leads Rosner back the way he came. By the way, my name is Huan. Rosner, he tells him. Maybe it is just his nerves, but something about this seems odd. No one says a word as Rosner recounts his life to the group. He cannot say why he does it. He does not know them. Yet there is something inviting about their presence. That, or he finally has an outlet to express the frustration he has about his life. Huan sips his ale, looking deep in thought. Cyan cups her mug on the table with her hands, her sky-blue eyes searching him over. Kanyu stares at his mug, listening to the surrounding crowd. Cyan is the first to speak. She talks slowly in a quiet tone. Her accent reflects Huan's. So you believe this entire endeavor of yours started because of a revolt your swordmaster claimed you started? Rosner nods. Yes. No, not really. He may be happy to have an outlet, but he cannot tell them everything. After an eternity to think about it, Rosner believes it all started with the whispering wind in the fountain. He did not hide the fact the castle and the fountain were there. He just neglected to relay their significance. Cyan brushes a strand of silver hair behind her ear and looks at Huon. What do you think of this? I think it very strange, Huon answers, but I cannot say why. He also avoided telling them about either dragon. Huon turned towards Rosner. You also claim a curse holds your brother, of which you lack knowledge of his location? Yes, and the only way to save him is to find the master elixir. Which you were told by? Cyan prompts. A traveling wizard of some sort, Rosner answers. He feels perspiration on his head. Is he getting anxious? Warm from the crowded room? Has he had too much ale? All three? Huon shrugs. Sounds like he got your hopes up to me. I cannot think of one sane being that believes in it to be real. Rosner feels his face turn red with rage. It has to be real. He has to save his brother. Cyan scoffs. Do you really have to be such a simpleton? It could very well be real. Rosner's anger melts away. Did she just support him? Huon holds her gaze for a moment. I suppose this makes sense. Before Cyan can comment, he adds, I never have taken you to be sane. She glares at him. For someone so young, Cyan sure has a deadly stare. Perhaps somewhere around Rosner's year. You know, she tells Huon, I am surprised you do not believe it. The comment seems to bite. The air around grows cold. Huon gently sets his mug on the table. What of the Black Shift? All eyes turn to Canoe, now looking them over in turn. His shifting sea-green eyes searching for something. What are you talking about? Huon asks. Canoe looks at Rosner. The Seal Sandman in the black clothing. Are you sure he did not say anything about himself? I'm sure, Rosner tells him. Whenever I asked a question that may have revealed something, he told me it was too dangerous a question. For a moment, everyone is silent. Then Rosner asks, Why? Kanyu opens his mouth to answer, but something behind Rosner catches his attention instead. I see your reputation is just. Rosner cringes as Osric's words. He turns to see the large creature standing over him. How did you find me? Rosner inquires. The orc lets out what seems to be a chuckle, but when he speaks, there is no humor. Despite the camp's appearance, it is smaller than one gives it credit to be. Now I think it best you return to your quarters. Rosner decides to try his luck. He turns around and says, I will not know. Maybe. He looks around at the empty table. His shoulders slump as he stands up and follows Osric outside. Once through the door, Rosner asks, Did you really have to do that? Eyes forward, Osric replies, You are under my supervision until told otherwise. So, yes. Rosner does not realize his shoulders can slump any further. His expression goes flat. Wonderful.